Hi everybody, this is Non-Duality Talk. I'm Jerry Katz. Welcome. My guest is Cecilia Weiss, who lives in Auroville, India, and was speaking to me from Besançon, France, a UNESCO heritage town in the east of France, where Cecilia's daughter is receiving a medical treatment for Gilles de la Tourette syndrome. We'll be talking about her daughter and about her husband Didier, who I interviewed about a year or so ago, and the nature of how big events in Cecilia's life arise and unfold in the process of investigating her true nature. The conversation begins with Cecilia telling us about her daughter. Here's Cecilia Weiss.
Didier and I have been in India for 21 years, and we adopted a child 13 years ago. And this child has had a good life so far, but then developed neurology, which is very little known in India, not known at all. And then because it involves tics, like vocal and motor tics, it's a handicap. And we felt that she needed to be assessed in Europe. And it was out of necessity because she went into a full crisis where she started really going into fits of rage. So at some point, we felt this is not what we want, but this is what we have to do. Let's go explore. So I've been here 3 months, and Didier has been joining us off and on, and he will be back in 1 week. And then we're going back home. So it's not like we thought that might be here for years, and then we thought I might be here for 1 year, and then we're going home. So it's a relief. It's good.
Is it okay if I include that in the interview or not?
Yeah, actually, Gilles de la Tourette is a syndrome that is not known. I mean, known to a few. And if we can introduce people to what it involves in terms of parenting, yeah, why not? Why not? I have quite a bit of knowledge in terms of adoption
Okay.
and parenting a child that is not ours, and also with the lack of history, we never know whether a child can develop harmoniously or not, and what is environmental and what is genetic. And in our story of day-to-day life and non-duality, it has helped to have a distance. I'm not sure we would have fared very well without non-duality, with Gilles de la Tourette syndrome.
And what have you learned being in there in Europe? Any progress?
Yeah, there has been an assessment, and we go back with some like proved examinations that there is nothing else but what she has, which is already a lot, Gilles de la Tourette. It's something that she has to live with, and the tics can go off with some therapy. So this is what we've learned. We are not totally desperate, and she has matured over the past 3 months, and we have now the feeling that we gain support instead of being isolated as parents, because you are isolated. Since it involves socialization problems, then it's quite hard for parents.
And you wanted to say her name and age?
Oh, yeah. She is Ludivine, and she is 13, soon 14. And she was born in Bangalore, and we adopted her because it happened. I can't remember exactly how it happened, but it had to be done. There was like, okay, let's do it.
As she gets older, what's the prognosis for this?
Prognosis is that she may learn how to live with it, and that most people, like around, I would say 75% of the people who have this syndrome learn how to mask it. They see the surge of tics coming, and they, for example, if they have like something in their throat, they learn to do this so that the tics don't come. Many people have this, but they've learned to live with it. They probably had a tough time while they were growing up, but with maturity, it helps. It's teenagehood is a very difficult time, and it's not only that. It's because she is an adopted child, and she feels the difference of being adopted, and it's probably linked. I don't know the ratio of children that are adopted that develop this syndrome. I have no knowledge about that, but it's understandable that the anxiety that she is suffering from can create nervousness and tics. This is like the most dramatic kind, and I have seen one in France like this. I mean, this is really probably somebody who has never had care. But if you go into therapy and you learn how to reverse the tics, if you also have the help of medication sometimes that Living is receiving, I don't say that it's compulsory, but we can see that it has helped. And being in India, we had really to fight this. I mean, in ourselves, do we need medication or not? And then we came to the conclusion that if it could save her life and save our family life, we would give it a try. And it seems that it alleviates a part of the anxiety and therefore the tics. So we tried homeopathy and all kinds of things. It didn't work out. Ayurveda is pretty helpful. So when we come back to India, there will be like Ayurveda. You hear the thunder?
Oh, thunder? I'm listening. I didn't hear it. Well, that's good.
Yeah,
That might
it's here.
cool off the heat wave there. And what's the city you're in
Yeah.
again?
Besançon. Besançon is a beautiful medieval town, Vauban, and it's actually it's a loop, and inside the loop, the old city is there, and this is where I live. I've been like the past 3 months cycling along the river and really basically enjoying life, being a nobody. It's been fantastic, being invisible because I know no one here, no one knows me, and I mean this has been the fun part. There has been dramatic parts, and being in Besançon has been a dream, really, because it's beautiful and because it's like there is a tramway and lots of cycle paths, and I put on my iPod and I just run or cycle, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow,
So
thunder.
I can hear something. Yeah, it doesn't sound like thunder, but I can hear
It,
a muffled
it,
sound. I can hear a sound. So maybe it'll start raining. The lightning though
yeah,
might do something to
yeah.
the
Actually, now
oh,
that you remind me of it, last time there was a flood. I need to close the window.
go ahead. Go ahead.
It's raining. Okay,
Okay.
it's raining,
Oh, it's raining. Oh,
and
good. So maybe it'll cool things off there.
anyway,
So we did meet in at the Science and Nonduality Conference, probably
we met in 2012.
to 2012.
Um, it was actually a very brief meeting
Yeah,
because you came late, and then we briefly met. We got introduced by Anamika, your dear friend.
and you're very close with her. You both live in Auroville in southern
Mhm.
India. So, how did you end up, you and Didier? Your husband's Didier Weiss, am I pronouncing his name
Yes,
properly? And
Didier.
I've interviewed Didier before. It was a good interview, really good interview. And
Why we ended up in India is why not there, but definitely because of Auroville. It was a moment where we were ripe to leave France and try a new adventure. We had sort of come to a full circle in our so-called careers in France, and it seemed right to just open to something new, not knowing whether it would be for a year or 10 years or more. And it's been quite many years now. And it's still new. There is not a moment where you feel, okay, we're done and we're moving on. Yeah, still learning, still.
That's an interesting theme you mentioned, like when it came to adopting Ludivine. Is that how I pronounce her name?
Ludivine,
Ludivine.
divine light. Yeah,
Ludivine.
we. Yeah.
You said you adopted her because it seemed right. It was like the right thing or something. You didn't really. There was no specific reason. It was
No,
right.
we,
And the same thing with moving to Auroville. It seemed there was a rightness to it, or a ripeness.
I think
Rightness,
it has.
ripeness.
Yeah, it has to do with all along my life to go with the flow, to just do what comes, and understanding since very early childhood that to resist was probably synonymous of a struggle, whereas if you let go, you may be taken in the unknown, but there is more chance to have fun.
For a chance to have fun. So this idea of what comes. I mean, don't you sometimes have to wait for what comes, or there are big things that come, and there are little things that come, and I mean, what about this what comes? I mean, can you talk something about that?
Sometimes small things come and they are more meaningful than big things, and sometimes it's happy and sometimes it's unhappy too. I mean, this life has not been full of only happy outcomes. But they come and go. This is what I have learned, and when I grew up with my brother, I could see how much gratitude I could show, I could have, because I was gifted with a life of easiness, where his life was gifted with a life of difficulties. I can barely hear you now.
That's rain. Is that rain? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll put the rain as background sound.
Can you hear it? Can
I
you
can
hear my
hear it. Yeah, I can hear it. So we're kind of talking about living life as with kind of in response to what comes, what arrives.
Yes,
Well,
I was saying that since childhood I could realize the luck that I've had, being born in a free spirit family, having a childhood in Africa, having good health, fantastic childhood, and caring parents, and growing with a brother who had the same environment but enormous difficulty in life, and showing like he cannot possibly um, show gratefulness towards life. He doesn't feel happy, but I've always felt happy,
yeah,
even though I may not have had happy times. But this innate sense of happiness, I've had it all along, and I think
yeah.
it's a true gift.
Maybe that's what it takes. Yeah, is that innate sense of happiness, kind of like the tone of your being, so to speak. Maybe that's what it takes to live life, waiting for what comes or responding to what comes. Now,
It's responding to what comes, and absorbing what comes, and just waiting for the next best thing to do, um, not reacting out of impulse. Sometimes it has happened, especially when I was younger, but yeah, to keep a distance with events, and not. There was this sense that things were not personal. If I tried to put words to it, that if I was born into that family and that I had this luck and not my brother, I did not deserve it more than him. So what what had I done to deserve such easiness in life? What he had done to deserve such unhappy childhood and happy health? So it gives. it gives the sense that nothing is personal, that there is no responsibility in events. I mean, up to a point sometimes, but the general feeling that things happen, and I could not put words to this. I couldn't be clear about that before quite late, before like 2012, which means it's fairly recent, this understanding. There was this life going into easiness, but there was no sense of how life is impersonal, events are impersonal. And being with Didier as a life partner sometimes gave me glimpses of it. But it's actually meeting people like Rupert Spira or Unmani or the SAM conference was amazing. I got like totally thrown off my previous world.
Yeah, Science and Nonduality, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I attended it, actually it was a coup monté. It was Annemieka and Didier who didn't tell me about it, but Annemieka came one time to the house saying, I'm going to SAND conference in California, why don't you come along? You just finished a 3-year term with your job, you have free time, come along. And I said, no way, I don't know anybody there, I'm too shy. And then in 1 week later, I was there. And it was definitely something they thought about it together, Didier and Annemieka, because they could sense that there was a moment of ripeness that I could not foresee, that I didn't allow. And the SAND conference was a life changer, an eye opener. It was more than this. It was an earthquake, let's say. Because I could meet, I could hear, I could sense people who were living, who were not faking it, who had this enthusiasm or this easiness of life that didn't sound fake. And then after that, I started to explore and understanding words that I had heard before, like look for yourself. And now that there is rain coming, I just all these people that I have listened to, like podcasts and interviews, to me they're like windshield wipers.
Yeah.
You're driving in the rain, and they don't take you to the destination. They just bring it clarity, and rain comes back and they bring more clarity, and until the path is clear and you reach destination, if it's your destiny. But they help clearing the muck out of the ice. They give an easiness in driving, because you realize there is no driver. There is no driver, and then it's pretty free then.
And again, there you use the term ripeness, ripe for
Yeah.
we encountered at the Science and Nonduality Conference there in 2012.
Yes. Yes, it's not something that would have happened 10 years ago. There was no ripeness. 10 years before, there was a sort of this preparation. Didier and I met Ramesh Balsekar in Bombay. And actually, it's not 10 years ago, but it's something like that. I forget the dates now. I had just got into the biggest drama ever a woman can encounter, was having a miscarriage at 6 months. Out of the blue, I went to Pondy for an ecography and an ultrasound, and they told me, baby's dead, please get out of the room. And it was a shock, a massive shock. And at that time, there was this feeling, oh, how can this happen to me? What did I do to deserve this? We're so good, everything was planned, and then went to see Ramesh, and he just said, not meant to happen. Easy. And wow, this changed the whole thing. The story just was filed. Not meant to happen. Not meant to happen. No guilt, no sin, no sense of responsibility. Things were clear, but it was more like a signpost. Yeah. I used it in my daily living to mask the sadness of thinking, oh, we will not have children of our own, or I'm not a failure. It was pretty convenient at that time. There was no ripeness to understand the message in its integrity. It's still not integral. I don't say it's integral yet. It's fairly recent, but it's been known, it's been seen, recognized. So if sometimes rain comes it and prevents the nice driving, I know that the windshield wipers will come and help along the way. Mm-hmm. I keep on listening to podcasts. I keep on listening to interviews such as the ones you do. I think these are so essential to look for ourselves and to clarify, to validate what's happening. I feel that you can see, you can know, but it's the deepening is happening. It's not like what I thought, like what everybody thinks when they start a spiritual search, despite them or thanks to their efforts. It's you happen to live your existence, to go through the ins and outs and bumps and rides that are not easy. And I've had pretty many in the past weeks. And it helps to hear, to listen to other people, to say, it's all good, it's all happening, keep the perspective. Actually, don't keep the perspective, that would be too much. Just be, just be. Let it come in, let it go. Just let it go. Don't hang on to it. Don't dwell in it. That's something I've heard. If there is a difficulty, no need anymore to go into the story of the poor me.
So with Ramesh Balsekar, there was a kind of a hanging on to his teaching, because you said you use that to hide. Whereas the teaching, as you're hearing it now, is it's more full. You know,
it's clear. Once, the journey has been meeting Ramesh Balsekar and using it as a signpost, but not living it fully. And then Didier and Anamika thought that the meetup group would be great, and it has helped tremendously. It has given this sense of reality that no, spirituality is not just meditating and reading books. It's really like getting together and being this beingness, feeling this unexpressible together and being awkward at it, trying to put words on something that is nothing and everything. It's an incredible attempt, but they have managed to set a platform, whereas once you get together, you don't want to leave, because you sort of grasp intuitively that yes, this is it, but what is it? So the meetup groups have been helpful. and listening to countless interviews also, and still now.
So you went from, I mean, there are probably other people like you went to Ramesh Balsekar and he said something like it's this event that happened, this miscarriage. You said, well, it wasn't meant to be. Sounds like a simple thing. And because of his authority, you at least you use that, you say, as a signpost, as just something to hold on to get you through, the grief. And but that wasn't the full way to
No, I met two people that in very different ways. I met one time Unmani, and I met one time Karen Richards. And Unmani shook the Cecilia beyond all control. Like she said, it's not a hobby. You cannot pursue spirituality as a hobby. It has to devour you. It has to be a living thing. It cannot be a mere interest. And Karen Richards gave me the feeling that this falling, this letting go, was going to be perhaps difficult and terrifying, but there was no way you could hurt yourself. It was bottomless. And therefore you could not harm yourself. Like with Didier, we did a bit of skydiving at some point, and to me it was the image. When she told me that, I could really remember jumping out of the plane and feeling this incredible freedom. And of course the parachute would open, but then there would be landing. And one time I even hurt my back quite bad. So when she said it's bottomless and therefore you cannot hurt yourself, and she looked at me and she hugged me and I cried so much, and what does she say? But then it was so important that she could tell me and that I could meet her in person. This was really, really strong. Rupert Spira also has been a tremendous help in clarifying terms, in clarifying what it is about. So I can say that I've been pretty lucky to meet these people in person, not only listen to podcasts, but meeting them in person has definitely shaken the story around of the me.
It's just summarizing what you were saying. Unmani informed you that spirituality it's not just a hobby. So, if a person were just looking for a signpost, you can make it a hobby, but that might do more than good,
Yes.
And then it was Karen Richards who said, if you're not going to make it a hobby, then you got to go Karen Richards' way, who says, you've got to let go, you've got to fall, but there's no ground to fall. There's no ground to fall on.
Mm-hmm.
And if you
so you're not going to hurt yourself.
You may think that a person might get a little deceived and think they found the ground. And the person can hang out there for quite a while, I think. Thinking that it's one thing or another, but even that ground has no substance. But that's interesting. Then you said Rupert provided clarification on various terms and stuff.
In among the various tools that have led to clarity, I also got very lucky to hear about a course. That happened in Auroville for a few weeks, and it's a tool that has been a tremendous impact.
That's the Finder's course, and one of the reasons that we're talking is for you to talk about the Finder's course. It was founded by Jeffrey Martin, but you have intimate experience with it. You took the Finder's course, and my understanding is that's very powerful. So
It is. It is. It is. And for this, you cannot have a mere interest. It has to, you again, this sense of rightness. If it had been offered 6 months back, or I may have said no, not for me. Too much. Too complicated. Too much asking of my time. But this time it was like, wow, I need my fix. I need it now. It's a question of survival. And even before the finals course came as an offering, when Anamika came back from the SEN conference, I knew that the next 6 months of my life I would dedicate to this. There was like a sense of emergency. It was like now or I crash. I need to know what is this about. And the finals course just appears. Would you like to attend a 4-month course where you're going to be rocked? And it's not going to be comfort zone at all, but you're going to possibly understand what your true nature is. And I signed for the course with eyes closed. I had no idea who Jeffrey was, no idea what it would be about, but there was a sense of emergency. Yes, now.
So, Cecilia, what happened like after that time following your interaction with Unmani and Karen Richards and Rupert, which we just talked about? So there was still something you wanted to resolve, and you saw that the Finder's course would do that. Can you talk more about
Yes.
what
Yes.
you were trying to resolve, what needed to be resolved there still?
I had, as I think 95% of the people who are interested in so-called spirituality, I had totally a wrong information about what waking up is about. What I found is not at all what I was looking for. I have less than before.
What were you looking for, or what did you think waking up was?
Well, the cliche, the cliche of the understanding, the life happily ever after, the clarity non-stop, none of that. I feel right now that everything is okay, even though it's not okay. There is a sense of okayness, as Jeffrey says, a sense that there is no control whatsoever. The most I can do is damage control. Just kidding. Sometimes it's been like, especially when the course started, this is when everything went astray, especially with Ludivine.
With your daughter.
And because Didier was part of the crew, he was a mentor.
Yeah.
I was telling him, look, I don't want to stop this course, but we have a family life, and we have a daughter who is right now not doing good. And I need to keep my sanity. I need to be able to be a mother, be a parent, and assist her. And right now, what I feel is that the letting go is so much that I may not be able to be a parent. And it was quite scary, and it gave me a few days of what is called dark night of the soul, because I could see there was no control. It was proved that there was nothing I could hold on to. But it took a little time, a few days, to get back on track and to say, it's okay. I'm holding on to nothing. I'm letting it all go to pieces, because I trust that something will come out of it that will be what it is. If it's negative, it's negative. If it's positive, it's positive. I can do nothing but let go.
So it's kind of an extreme letting go.
There is no chance to do otherwise. There was there was no way that I could have acted differently. Go with the flow, get drowned if needed. This is what caused this dark night of the soul, is that I realized that drowning was possible. And it was a drowning of the me. It was drowning of Cecilia. It was what Unmani was talking about. It was not the physical death that I had misunderstood when she says love to die or die to love. I forget how she writes this. I had understood somehow that become enlightened meant to not have a life anymore. It's exactly the opposite. I feel alive as I have never been alive. I feel younger than ever. So worth the scare.
So it sounds like whatever is let go of is or was a drag on your life energy in some way. If you feel more alive, more energetic,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
it can be said that what is released then is a drag on that energy.
Yes. Didier has a beautiful metaphor about this. It says it's like going on a trek and having a big backpack on your back, and suddenly you just put it down and you go on happily with the trek without the backpack. So of course the trek becomes more beautiful, more enjoyable. You've let go.
Yeah. And I should say, you mentioned,
But you still walk. You
still,
still walk, you still enjoy, you still live. And I had understood somehow that I had understood the opposite, that being enlightened meant a boring life. Yeah, totally opposite, totally wrong.
okay. I just want to mention that Didier and your husband Didier and Annemieke were both the kind of the mentors in that course in Auroville, which was conducted through the meetup group there.
Yes.
So yeah, I just want to get that. So how does the Finder's Course pull this off? I mean, what does the Finder's Course do that allows this great, what Karen Richards was saying, this great falling without any floor underneath you? I mean, what would you say
Well,
is
some people may not find it a tool. What is the Finder's Course doing? It's exploring. It's really a collection of tools that have proved to help with the clarity. It doesn't. Some are more helpful to some people, and some are unhelpful. But I can say that some of the tools and exercises that are being offered change life, because instead of adding to life, it makes life more life. How can I say that? I don't want to disclose too much of the Finder's Course, but there is one thing that is actually visible on the net. It's called Actualism. It's unprovoked happiness. To be able to just walk around, talk to Jerry, drink my water, and feeling alive is actualism. Nothing more simple than that. Now, it also means that when it pains, it really hurts. So I would call it unprovoked happiness and unprovoked unhappiness. But there is no one to claim the happiness and no one to claim the unhappiness. This is the difference that the Finder's Course bring. There is no one that can claim the happiness or the unhappiness. Otherwise, actualism is what we all do at all times, every moment that we breathe. We may not be able to be conscious of our breathing, but when we pay attention to the breathing, we can immediately relate to how incredible this thing is, to be able to breathe, to be able to live. It's just such a miracle. But unless you pay your attention to this, it seems so natural and taken for granted. And now just sitting on a bench and watching the river go and just breathing is like, oh my gosh, I need no drink, I need nothing else but a few puffs of air, and I'm just so lighthearted and happy. Unimaginable a few years back. So the Finder's Course has this capacity to take you to an understanding. If actualism is your thing, if you go this way, some people may not be touched or think, what breathing? Oh, big deal. Or this flower, yeah, nice, big deal. But if you look at the variety of exercises that the Finder's Course, because it's a course to find not enlightenment, who would be enlightened, but to find what resonates and brings you the clarity. And in this sense, Jeffrey and his team have done an incredible job. So I'm not saying that everybody should do the Finder's Course, but in our case, the group that did the Finder's Course has had an amazing journey together in Auroville. And we were all from Auroville except one person who was coming from England and a regular visitor to Auroville. But it's been an incredible tool. And I think all of us doing the course were ripe. If you take the Finder's Course as another course, it may not prove to be the thing that will bring clarity. But if you have the passion to know and to know now, it may help unravel the clarity.
Sounds like you need to be ready to give up everything that's in the way of that actualism, and also be willing to find out what's in the way, because you may not, chances are you don't know what's in the way.
No, you don't. You don't know what's in the way until it comes like so huge, so big, that you have to laugh. But until you meet what's in the way and recognize it as a burden, it's in the way. It's blocking the view.
You have, Cecilia, do you have any example of that you want to share? In other words, it might be something important for you that maybe may be hard to communicate.
No, it's more simple than that. It's we carry a burden. From age 1.5 to 2, we learn things that we need to unlearn, actually. We learn to have a name and a profession and do well and be a good girl and satisfy our parents and not be a failure. We become what I call a blob. We become like a sort of a blob of thoughts and ideas and opinions and how we should be and how we are, what we should not be, and we are contracted. And when we abandon this disguise and this burden, it's freedom. So this is what's blocking the view. This is what's pulling us down. But once it's revealed, and it seems so simple. When it's revealed, it's so simple. And I remember listening to Anamika talk about it, or Nisargadatta Maharaj, or saying enlightenment is simple. No, it didn't seem simple, but now I don't say that anybody is enlightened here, but I can say, yes, it is simple. We carry a burden. We just need to put it down. We just need to put it down. We just need to agree to put it down, to let go. And we believe that if we let go, we don't exist anymore. And that's the trick. We don't exist anymore. And we're free. We are this wholeness. We are this nothingness. We are everything and we are nothing. It's astounding. To me, books and podcasts and interviews, everything that seems right is fine. And if the finals course seems like an emergency, I would say do it. If it's not an emergency, if it's another course, you may take a holiday.
Yeah.
In Florida,
Okay.
if it's and you may put your burden down in Florida too. It's I don't know. The Founders course has many tools and many ways to let you give up your burden, and this is what makes it so good.
So now, after the course, the course is a way of introducing you to different methodologies, I guess, approaches. Do you find then that you get to pick the one or two or so that work best for you, and then pursue those?
Yes, it's like actualism is one of the exercises, and it's a moment. It's a moment thing. It's every moment of my life now. It's not like, okay, now I'm going to do an hour of actualism. No more. It's understanding that this is life. Or one exercise that is being really worked on also is what had developed Douglas Harding. And I've been practicing this here with delight because I feel I'm a no one. No one knows me in this town. I have my iPod, I go on my cycle, and I feel invisible because there is no one. I can only see my cycle and my hands. By being uprooted suddenly, I could take the full measure of the headless way. It's called the headless way. Because when I run, I can see my shoes going up and down, and yes, it's like a miracle. There is running. That's all.
So that's like the major shift from, I am running to
Yes,
running.
from Cecilia is running and she's done her 2 miles and she's really happy about it and she's gonna brag about it. No, this is not happening anymore.
Okay.
If there is running happening, it runs. It runs by itself. And right now, sweating happens. Okay, sweating happens because now the rain has gone, and I should open the window. Otherwise, I'm gonna die with heat.
I think you really covered a lot from your journey, your perspective, your family, and the experience with the Finder's course. I think you really cover that pretty
That's
fully
good.
because you expressed where it brings you, what it does.
And what happens now is that I really get the sense that it's not the end of it, that there is more to it, that there is this life to bite in and more to discover, and I feel like writing, but not in the sense of creating a blog. It's more like a text that just come, just like one I sent you the other day about the card castle. They just come, and I'm just full of wonder for the next things that's going to come.
So you are doing some writing, and you're also you've done some publishing, and you published Anamika's book.
I've done the editing of her book, and I'm also doing the editing of a book of Didier. It's actually an exchange of emails he's had for like a year and a half with someone. And I actually take pleasure in editing because I read the text and I sort of get the essence of the text. They become clear. And I'm really enjoying that work a lot because it's all about sharing. It's not to promote or to sell. It's about becoming a bigger community. What I feel now, to tell you the truth, Jerry, is that this aloneness in the knowledge, in this reality, sometimes is a bit choking. I meet people day after day in hospital or in social services or friends, and there is this feeling that there is a part that I can't relate. I feel it's a bit like being an alien.
Yeah.
And there is one thing that I would like is to share, is to have more and more people. And in this sense, I can understand Jeffrey's willingness to be so enthusiastic about it. It's not about selling, not about making money. It's about having a sense of growing a community of people who take life as it is, as a happening, not personal, to live. It's a how do you call it? A side effect, to be happier, simply to be more happy, despite the circumstances. Sometimes, in spite the circumstances are life. Why not accept them? Make their and not make a fuss about it. Just take them. They come and go, they come and go. And yeah, it's about being happy altogether. And sometimes I feel this sense of being invisible, of being a no one, and at the same time to be the world. It's disconcerting, totally disconcerting. I'm still a newbie in this. I'm very happy to be able to enjoy life as it is now.
Well, look, Cecilia, thank you.
I really enjoyed talking with you, Jerry.
I'm glad we hooked up.
Good.
Okay.
Bye. Take care. Bye.
That was my conversation with Cecilia Weiss, who lives in Auroville, India, and was speaking from Besançon, France, a UNESCO heritage town in the east of France, where her daughter is receiving medical treatment for Gilles de la Tourette syndrome. You've been listening to Non-Duality Talk. A copy of this interview, along with relevant links and materials, is available at nonduality.org. I'm Jerry Katz. Thank you for listening.